Alright, yo, what's up guys? It's me, Shadow, back again with another tutorial video. This week, we're going to be going over how to make melodic beats for SGPWES based on his newest project, Celestial. If you guys haven't heard it yet, I highly suggest you guys go and check it out. It's a super fire project, and you know, artist tutorial videos, that's my thing. A new project comes out, I gotta cover it, so that's what we're doing today. One quick disclaimer before we get into the video, guys. This is specifically a melodic SGPWES type beat. You guys already heard the preview beat, so you already know what kind of vibe we're going for. If that's not the kind of vibe you want, if you want like the more typical like Zay Skills SGPWES type beats, I will link that up in the like top right or top left of the screen. It should pop up like right now. I have covered the harder style of SGPWES type beats many times, so you know, I figured why not do the more melodic style. This project especially seemed to have more melodic songs to it than not, so yeah. This is not like a typical Zay Skills, super hard, crazy 808 beat. This is more melodic, so that's it, I guess. We're going to set the BPM to 145, pretty typical like middle range BPM. Anywhere from like 140 to 145 is going to be perfect for these beats, in my opinion. These are the drums that we're going to be using. Yeah, it's like stupid simple. Just two 808s, a hi-hat, and a clap. Depending on the beat, you want to go like, you know, harder with like more perks and crazy drums and stuff like that. But if you're just doing some like super simple melodic stuff, you really want to focus on the melody and the actual 808 pattern rather than having a bunch of crazy drums and like, you know, all sorts of sounds. Typically on his more melodic songs, SGPWES picks beats that have just super catchy melodies and simple drums, so that's the vibe that we're going to be trying to go for. Now, getting into melodies, guys, a lot of these sounds that I'm going to be using are from the 406 Ahmad Onism one-shot kit, or Onism. I can't pronounce that word. I probably should have looked that up before recording, but I didn't, so whatever. Ahmad has super fire kits. He's a really talented sound designer and just producer in general. He sent me this kit early. It's actually not released yet, but it is coming out soon. So if you like what you see in the video, you can follow him, keep up to date, see when the kit comes out. One more thing, me and Ahmad are actually working on a kit together. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil the idea that we kind of have going, but what I will say is it's not like a typical drum kit, loop kit, serum bank, one shot, you know, like effects kit. It's none of those things. It's something like pretty new. Ahmad came to me with the idea and I really liked it, so we figured why not make a collab kit. And yeah, basically it's something that as far as we're aware of, no one's really done, or at least it's not really been popularized. So yeah, we have a kit coming, and yeah, I probably just said too much there, but regardless, new kit coming soon, should be pretty cool. Anyways, guys, the first sound that we're using is the monster lead. Then we are using the stout lead. I actually really like this lead. This is probably one of my favorite sounds in his whole kit. We are using the Alistic pluck. That's going to be it for the Onism kit, guys. It's also going to have serum presets. It's going to have loops, MIDI, stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for that kit. Then we're also going to be throwing in some serum using my Vanquish serum bank. I dropped this a couple weeks ago. It is personally my favorite bank that I have made, and also just my favorite bank in general. And yeah, the first sound that we're using is the phase pluck. Then we have the chopper lead. And then we have the puke synth. I use this in a lot of my videos. It's personally my favorite synth. It's like my go-to now. You guys can hear it as a super cool rising effect. I really enjoy it. And like I said, it's just my go-to synth right now. So yeah, those are all these sounds out of the way, guys. Basically, the general vibe that you want to go for is just super ambient, you know, a lot of cool like effects, like watery stuff, plucks, just airy kind of... I'm just saying like random description words at this point, but like I think you guys sort of understand the vibe that I'm going for. With that out of the way, now we're going to hop into how I made this beat, starting off with the melodies. This is what the chords are going to sound like. Essentially, guys, what we're doing is we're just using what I call the can-can chord because I am a non-educated producer who doesn't understand music theory. And I noticed that these chords are used a lot in can-can type beats, so that's just what I call it, where essentially the chords that we're using are just spaced out. And yeah, doing this creates really cool ambient, just like emotional chords. So basically what we're doing is we're just using an A sharp 4 and an F sharp 4 as like the root notes. And from that point, you know, we're just filling in the notes in sort of like a progression where it starts off on the lowest note and it basically introduces each note in like a specific timing. I don't know how to describe this. Yeah, you guys can kind of visualize it. We're doing the same thing here with the second chord, except in the second chord we're introducing an extra note right here just to kind of switch things up. And then in the end half we're adding even more just for some more vibe and like movement. Basically we're adding an F and an F sharp 5. F sharp is basically the root note and the F worked with the progression, so I kind of just did that at the end. And you know, I don't know why I'm saying that. And yeah, basically guys, that's how you want to make like these emotional like ambient chords. It's basically just using notes that are 7 semitones apart, or you know, spaces of 6 between the notes. Super easy, nothing too crazy. Then guys, we're going to take what we already made and we're going to copy it onto the Stout lead one shot from a mods kit, and it's going to sound like this. Yeah, it was really cool. I basically just took what we had and raised it up an octave and made no changes other than that because I didn't really have to. This is why I personally really enjoy one-shot kits, because you can just do so much with it. I used a lead and turned it into like a weird chord ambient pad sound. You can really take any sound from any one-shot kit and repurpose it into whatever you want it to be. So yeah, that's pattern number 2. We are going to EQ it a little bit because there was like a super dominant high-end sound that was a little too powerful in the beat. We're going to make it stereo along with the original chords. We are also going to make stereo. We are also going to lower the volume. We're going to do this super harsh low-end EQ just to take out all the low-end. And then again, a second EQ just to take some high-end out and a little bit of mid. Nothing too crazy, some pretty standard like melody EQing and stuff like that. Then guys, we're going to throw this weird pluck pattern in here that's going to sound like this. Essentially what we're doing here is we're taking the chord progression that we already made and reversing it. Normally it would go A sharp to F to C, but instead we're just reversing it. We're going in the opposite direction and we're basically just copying the chords that we already had. We're also going to be throwing in this little like G sharp to A sharp thing here, but other than that, basically I just felt like adding a pluck for some ambience and just to kind of fill the beat out some more. So yeah, I didn't really feel like thinking too much. So I just took the notes that we already had and, kind of reversed the progression and created this. Then guys, lastly, I added this super slidey counter melody lead that's going to sound like this. Basically, it's just a D sharp. The C sharp was only used to sort of create this little slide thing. If you want to create these cool slide notes, choose the note that you want to be like the lasting note or like the note that the listener is really going to hear. And then, based on your progression or your scale, find the next note below it that will work. And then, just do this little delay thing. Make sure that the first note is super short and it will create this sort of effect. If you guys listen to the preview beat, you will notice this does not sound at all like the counter melody in the preview beat. There's a reason for that and I will explain to you now. The reason for that is because I just did some mixing and cool effects. The first thing that I did was I used a shaper box with this like sort of width preset or whatever it is. Basically, I guess it just makes your sound wider. Basically, as this curve goes up, the sound gets wider in the mix. I used another shaper box with the panning preset. Now, basically, each note that plays will move from the left and right ear. You guys don't need shaper box for this. You can just get the Pancake VST from Cable Guys. They are the people who made shaper box. It's basically just this preset within shaper box, but for free. And then lastly, this Effectrix preset right here, Drummer Lab 3, is really what's going to change the melody and make it sound like this. Basically, it's just some crushing, stretching, some cool effects. Typically, what I do to change my melodies up is I just scroll through Effectrix presets until I find something I like. If there's some extra, effects and stuff that I don't like, I'll take it out. I think there was a looping effect on this. I took it out. Didn't really like that. But regardless, basically what I did is I used Effectrix, and that totally, flipped the counter melody into something that sounds super fresh and new. If you guys don't have Effectrix, Looperator is also basically the same thing, arguably better. It's the same price, and if you guys don't want to pay for anything, you can just use Gross Beat, honestly, and mess around with Gross Beat. That will work as well. Then we have one more sound, which is actually the Puke synth again. It's the same thing, except we're just doing this, whatever this thing is. I don't know how to describe it, but it's going to sound like this. Essentially, guys, what we're doing is we are using notes that we already used within our chord progressions and our melodies, counter melodies, whatever. Primarily, it's just this. A sharp to F sharp, down to F, back to F sharp, and we're basically going to take it, right? If you see, if I drag this up here, we are going to copy and paste it, move it over to sort of fill this gap, and then control down arrow. That basically moves it down an octave, and that is it. Could I have explained this better? Probably. Did I? Yeah, that's the last melody. Yeah. Altogether, guys, this is what the melody that we made is going to sound like. So yeah, guys, that is the melody out of the way. Now that we have that done, we are going to go over the drums and then the structuring, and then we're going to wrap this video up. First off, we have a pretty simple clap pattern. It's a little bouncy, but it's going to sound like this. Basically, it's just like a normal clap pattern. We are going to fill the middle in with this sort of like typical clap bounce thing. Normally people would use like snares in the middle, but I didn't really want to do that, so I just used the clap again. And then at the end, we're going to do a similar thing, but with a different bounce. That's going to sound like this. Really nothing too complicated, you know, it's just a clap pattern. Then guys, we have the hi-hat, which is actually just like a two-step this time with some rolls. Basically, guys, what I did is I took this first half that I made, you know, it's just like a two-step. I added a couple of extra notes. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I took these two bars, I pasted them over, and then I basically just like randomly took out like one or two notes just for some extra bounce. I already said this earlier, but when you're doing these beats, the melody is really the focus, not really the drums, so that's why we're going with like a simple two-step this time. Then, guys, we have the first 808 pattern, which is going to sound like this. Again, nothing really too crazy. We're basically just following the root notes, an A sharp and an F sharp. Normally the chord progression would be like, you know, lower down an octave like this, but obviously that's like too low of an octave for the 808 to really sound good. So we're sort of doing this thing where we raise it up an octave, and it's pretty cool because the first note that hits is really low, then it moves up to a higher pitched note. It's some nice like contrast in the beat. In the second half, we're going to do like something a little different where, you know, we're going to adjust the velocities a bit like this. If you guys haven't noticed already, this beat is very clearly inspired by the song Leveled Up on the project, and you know, within that project they used super soft subby 808s, and they did a similar thing where they utilized higher octaves, and they also did a similar thing where they messed with the velocity to kind of make it like trail off and stuff like, okay. But yeah, in general, guys, basically just following the root notes, utilizing higher pitches with softer 808s creates a cool effect. And then, guys, we basically have the same 808 pattern, but we're switching it up a little bit. The lower note in the progression, we're switching it out for a Z 808 like this. And that's literally it. You know, the higher pitched notes are going to stay the same with the same 808 and stuff like that. Altogether, our drums are going to sound like this. Super simple, like I said a million times. Then, guys, for structuring, again, super simple. Basically, we have a 4-bar intro, I think. I'm not really good with bars, but yeah, there you go. 4-bar intro, and you know, it's not playing anything at all really besides the main chord progression, both of the chord patterns. Then we have the hook, which is going to be 16 bars. The first half of the hook is going to be simple, and then the second half is going to be a little bit more like hectic. We're going to bring in all of our plucks and counter melodies and stuff like that. We're going to switch the 808 pattern out to the harder Z 808 pattern, and that's pretty much it. The verse is basically just the beginning half of the hook looped over and over again. We are going to introduce our counter melody in the last half again. Other than that, basically just the first half of the hook. Then we have an 8-bar bridge where we're just EQing out the low end, which I do in pretty much all of my beats. It adds a nice effect like this. From that point, the beat just repeats. It is a second hook and then a second verse. The last half of the second verse is going to act as an outro where we are going to EQ out volume and high end. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is going to wrap this video up, guys. I don't have to go over mixing with the drums or, you know, anything crazy like that because I don't really mix my drums a whole lot. I just use drum kits that I make and I enjoy that are mixed well, and that's about it. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you watched this video all the way through the end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you guys who watch my videos all the way through. If you guys like this video, leave a like. If you didn't, don't. Remember to hit the subscribe button. I post videos 2 times a week on Wednesday and Friday covering underground and up-and-coming artists, challenge videos, entertainment content, and more. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Have a good day or night. Peace.